Grow 100,000 pounds of food on less than 1 acre of land. And so what you see here is my boys. I have about 30 boys that I mentor. Our mission is to raise strong, conscious, productive young men and reestablish accountable, responsible leadership in the community. And so you can see them right now building an aquaponics system. Those who don't know what aquaponics is, it's raising fish and vegetables in one system. And so aquaponic uses 90% less water than traditional farming. We're working with Lincoln University on our aquaculture, breeding our tilapia. We're working with the Pinnacle Career Institute on building a small wind turbine, all on 29th and Wabash in the inner city. So we'll be doing this project. Hopefully we have it up and running in maybe a couple of, hopefully next month. And so how I came about of growing 100,000 pounds of food. Well, this is a lady right here, this young lady I met. I was surveying the land where our greenhouse would be located, and she just happened to stand across the street, and she was asking, "What are you guys doing?" And I said, "We're building a greenhouse." And she said, "Oh yeah." She said, "Well, this land been vacant for over 20 years. Unfortunately, I've seen an incident happen across the street, and somebody needs to do something about it." And so I explained what aquaponics was, told her she's going to have free food for life. And so she started smiling. She couldn't believe it. She almost cried. She called her sister. She said, "You can't believe what they're doing over here. They're building a greenhouse. Something's getting done over here." And this is the joy that you see from her face. She immediately hopped on the phone, called her sister, told her what we're doing. I explained to her what aquaponics was. She never heard of it. Had to explain it again. She was like, "What is aquaponics?" And so I told her, "Don't worry about it. You have free food for life." And so these are some of the things that we try to do with our boys. Like I said, growing in the hood. A lot of times you look at the hood and you think of hardcore. You see the negative stereotypes. You see young black men like myself painted a bad picture in the news. And so we do a lot of things to change that mindset. We do things with our boys as far as going hunting. We go fishing. A couple months back, we took 30-plus boys and a couple girls flying over Kansas City in all private planes owned by black pilots. And so we flew all over Kansas City. We even took one boy up to Wisconsin to learn how to fly. And so hopefully within a year, maybe 2 years, we have our own plane and we can generate 6 or 7 kids a year to get their pilot license before they get their GED. And so these are some of the things that we try to do with our mentoring program. And so we try to change the whole mindset. The news that came out that day, they ran a story, all these kids flying a plane, but you know what happened? Unfortunate incident in the news, someone got killed. So it took precedence over the story for the day, so the story was never told. And so you don't see these things in the inner city or what people are trying to do, shining in the hood. There's a lot of good things that come out of the hood. Like I said, we're growing in the hood. We can grow anywhere else if we want to, but I want to force people to come down who will never come down into the hood and see some of the things that we're trying to do. We're going to do renewable energy. We're going to do a 20-kilowatt solar system. We're going to do wind power. These are some of the things that you don't hear about. You're not going to hear anyone 7 or 8 years old talking about nitrates, the nitrites, the ammonia levels of the water, plant deficiencies. These are some of the things that my boys can tell you. These are some of the things that my boy can tell you about fish eating habits. If there's something wrong, your fish is not eating. These are some of the things that we do, all in the hood. things you probably never seen, heard, or even indulged about coming about, going into and venturing inside the hood. It was about 4 years ago, I heard about aquaponics. Me, my grandfather, and my uncle, we all attended a seminar with this guy named Will Allen. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Will Allen, he grows 1 million pounds of food on less than 3 acres of land. That's unheard of. He's one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people for the things that he do with aquaponics. And so we all went home, we built our own little systems, me, my grandfather, my uncle, raising tilapia, growing vegetables. And me and my uncle were successful. My grandpa, he killed his fish. He wanted to do things his way. You have to have some kind of a balance between fish and the plants that you grow. And so he killed him off. He's still at it again. He's about to start back up. But I try to think, like, how do we be self-sufficient? How do we become self-sufficient where we're not relying on anybody? Why do I have to send one of my boys out to the suburbs to get a job? Why should I? Why can't we provide our own jobs? How do we become self-sustaining? It's a social responsibility. I take it upon myself. So it came about, let's do a greenhouse. Let's build one. And so we've been working on aquaponics, getting funding. Things I don't like to do is ask for money, but you need money to get started. But once we're started, we'll be self-sufficient. We won't bring anything onto the property except for seeds. And so I had a chance to meet Will maybe a second time, maybe about 4 months ago. So I went up to Wisconsin, where it grows, seen the system, seen how it works. And I said, you know what, I'm about to do the same thing. And so we're gonna be doing some things as far as growing that nobody's doing in the country, as far as square footage. I say 100,000 pounds, but we actually might be able to do 200,000 pounds on less than an acre, 0.6 of an acre, using vertical space. And so these are things that's gonna be highlighted where you're gonna have to come down and see what we're doing, and you're gonna come to a place where you're told that a lot of negative things happen. I'm not a farmer by tradition. Went to college, played football, did everything under the sun. How I started gardening, I think it's just in me. On my father's side, my grandfather was raised in a farm in Arkansas. I used to go down there on the summers, vacation, watch the cows, feed the chickens, the pigs. On my mother's side, my grandfather, he still farms. He got a little small little plot. He had 80 acres at one time. But my great-grandmother, she was a sharecropper from Jackson, Mississippi. She moved at age 16 to seek a better life because that's how rough it was in Jackson, Mississippi. She just passed a couple months ago at age 97. She always grew her own food. So the last conversation I had with her was about growing food. We had that commonality, tomatoes, but she said this year she couldn't really plant anything because of the drought in California. For those who don't know, global warming is real. Of the last 12 of the last 15 years documented has been some of the hottest temperatures recorded. And so it's not gonna get any better. And so we gotta find ways to be self-sufficient. And so when my grandmother passed, we was there for our funeral, for her funeral. I got to hear some things that I didn't know. She was a giver. She always gave to the grandkids. She gave all the grandkids $100 every Christmas, and it was like 15 plus grandkids, and it always added up every year to some more grands and great-grands. And so we aged out about 18, we received $100, so we was mad at the younger ones that came before us, or came after us. And so when they spoke at the funeral, I heard some things that I never heard. She used to go down to Skid Row in LA, pass out money, give to the homeless. She was called Farmer Brown from her neighbors because she used to feed the community. Never asked for anything in return. Always gave. Everybody that spoke at that funeral always spoke about her giving and didn't want anything back in return. I had a chance, maybe a day after, I went behind her garage because she said it wasn't growing, so anything wasn't growing as far as the food. So I went back there. I seen some plants. It was bone dry. Things was dormant. But I happened to see some tomato plants. Some tomato plants were surviving. They was growing. So I got the chance to pick it and eat it. And so, I mean, that brought joy to me that, you know, it was something that she had planted, a legacy that she had left, that I can continue on and keep growing like she grew. This is something I try to instill in our boys, where, you know, our plants are grown in rocks. A lot of people don't know that in aquaponics, you grow in rocks. And so the fish waste pumps up into the rocks where our vegetables are at. And so our vegetables grow inside of rocks. The fish waste provides nutrients and it breaks down and goes back down to the fish as clean water. So it recirculates. It uses 90% less water. And so using the right medium, the care, the right opportunity, you can grow. You can grow anything. These are what I try to do with my boys. We try to plant seeds. I'm planting 30 plus seeds right now with my boys in the hood. Given the right circumstances, the exposure, anything, the hurdles we gotta overcome, we gonna grow by all means necessary. That's what we plan on doing. And no matter what you see in the media, negative stereotypes, connotations, the thing that come along with it, we're gonna fight through all barriers. We're gonna do whatever it takes. Like I said, whatever the right opportunity, exposure, we're gonna grow by all means necessary. Like I said, we got a 100,000-pound food project going on right in the middle of the hood. These are seeds I'm planting, and hopefully to spread these seeds in every other neighborhood, every other community, and maybe in other countries. Thank you.